Hello students, welcome to English classes. So this is the first language class for you. This is the first language or English class for you. So in this class, before going to tell some of the grammar aspect or some of the basic concepts of a grammar or fundamentals here, let me tell today, or I need to give some advices for you people regarding the use of English language. How English language plays a very important role in building your career. So in all the fields, students, you have seen in all the fields, like wherever in official work or in building any fields of career, whether it may be an engineer, a doctor, a teacher, or even in official, in offices like a clerk or in a bank or wherever you can see, all the transactions, all the activities or things happens in English. Even in education also, from convent school or from the beginning we can see children are giving importance, or education is even given importance to more in English. So you people are science students, I advise more you to focus on the language that is English here. See, because it plays a very much role, a very important role for your building of a career, and to understand your physics or biology or whatever subjects, or even technical terms or whatever things. For everything language English is needed. You should know about the words here, you should understand the vocabulary here, and even students at this stage you should write a proper sentences. So to write a proper sentence and to speak very good English, grammar is very essential. So my thing, what I want to say here, to develop a language or to have a command or proficiency over language, four things are very much necessary. Four skills are very much necessary: speaking, listening, writing and reading. If a person is very much good in listening and writing and he can't speak, so that person will not be having a command over English. So to have a command, complete proficiency, all the four skills are required here. So today, and even to write a good sentence, what skill is needed? You need to know the grammar skills here. So to write a good sentence, to frame a good sentences, to write a good words, you have to understand the grammar. So grammar makes you to perfect in speaking and even in writing. So if you know grammar well, you can put the right words and you can speak very well. So this is about the use of English. So don't neglect the English students. As you have a burden of physics, chemistry and other parts of subject, don't neglect the languages. Since from the beginning, give importance to the language English, or even you give importance for a language Kannada also. Because nowadays some competitive examination, first paper, the general paper what they are going to conduct, in that first paper, some questions are based on grammar, whether it is in English, whether it is a Kannada. So that's the reason, pay little attention towards the language. And regarding, apart from knowing or gaining a knowledge in English or a language, you have to read, even you have to pay little interest even towards the literature. Don't forget the literature, because in a Kannada or language English, there are some stories or poems that makes you to that makes you to feel enjoy. So by reading a poem you will get enjoyment. By reading a story you will have some moral lessons. So take a literature and grammar. These are the two aspects of a languages here. So literature will tell about the lessons of a life. How you have to lead a life, how you have to face the problems, and what is the experiences, through some of the experiences, life experiences, you can know something about your life, your future life, how you have to tackle or how you have to deal with the problems. You can enjoy, you can get some lessons, you will have some morality towards you can get some morality from the literature, and grammar makes you to perfect the language. So these are the some introduction about learning of language, what I told, why language is needed. So before that, even students, by reading stories and by learning of or analyzing of poems, your vocabulary will be enriched. So I am asking you to read short stories, novels, and these things will make you perfect. You'll have a enrichment of vocabulary by reading the stories and the poems. And grammar will tell you to write a good sentences here. So my topic today is about a sentence. This is the basic part here. This is the fundamental here. So sentence. Today I'll start with my first topic of the grammar, that is sentences. So in the next coming videos we will be uploading teachings on a text, lesson wise chapters. You will have the 10 to 13 chapters in your English text. So now we'll go for a sentences here. So take for example here in a sentence. There are two sentences here. English every day Rita learns. Rita learns English every day. So the first sentence here. What is the first sentence? English every day Rita learns. This sentence is not making any type of sense there. Whereas you can see the second sentence. Rita learns English every day. This sentence is making the sense. And as soon as when you see these two sentences, second sentences, by reading second sentences, it will understand. The second sentences make you to understand that Rita is learning English every day. Rita is learning English. The sentence will make you to have some sense there. But the first one is not. Why the first one is not here? Because the words are not arranged properly. The right words are not placed properly. But in a second, the proper words, the proper parts of speech or subject or predicate, everything is used in a right order. So Sita comes, the subject will be always in the first. Sita, verb and the predicate. Sita learns English every day. So what is a sentence? Now you will come to understand. Now you will have some idea regarding a sentence. You will know now. You will come to know now. What is sentence? Sentence is a group of words arranged in a proper order and make a complete sense. The sentence or a group of words which makes some sense, which gives a complete meaning. So that is called as sentence. So whatever words or any kind of words which is not placed orderly, we can't say that as a sentence. Why the sentence is called? Because the words are proper there. See, what is the next here? Sentence has two parts. When there is a need of writing a sentence, it consists of two parts. What is the two parts? First one is the subject and the second one is the predicate. First one is the subject and the second one is the predicate. In every sentences, the sentence will be having the two parts. One is the subject, one will be the predicate. So before going for predicate and all things, you have to know what is subject there. So students, what is subject? I told you that in a sentence there will be a first one subject part and then will be a predicate. So what is subject? What is the subject here? So with the example I am going to tell later, you just listen to what is subject. See, subject, it is the person or a thing doing an action. So what is the subject of it? A doer. We can say subject as a doer. Because in a sentence, when there is a person or a thing which does action, when there is a person or a thing which does action, so that is called as, that word is called as subject. So moreover, subject will be having more nouns or even a pronoun. There will be either a noun, subject will be either a pronoun or a noun here. So the girl is smiling. See the sentence. The girl is smiling. The birds fly. The sun shines brightly. See, in this sentence, the girl is smiling. What is the subject? You can identify the subject here. The girl. Girl is the subject. We are talking about the girl here. It means it is suggesting the subject. And this girl, this person or the noun is doing the action. So girl is doing the action there. We can say this as a subject. See, the girl is the subject here. The girl is the subject. The girl is smiling. Now, is refers to a helping word and smiling is the verb. In the second sentence, the birds fly. Here also birds is a noun, fly is a verb. Then the sun shines brightly. The sun shines brightly. The sun is the noun here. What the sun is doing? The sun shining. The sun gives the brightness here. The sun shines brightly. Shines is the verb and remaining part is the predicate. The sun, this is the subject, and shines brightly. Shines brightly completely is the predicate and the sun is the subject here. For example, I'll repeat the sentence. For example, take one more sentence here like cats are lovely. Take in the sentences. See, cats here refers to the subject. Before it's a doer here. The cat is doing a thing, a person which does some action. So this is the subject here. We are talking about the person, we are talking about the thing, we are talking about the cat here. So this is the subject. So cats are lovely and it becomes the predicate. After the verbs, the words which are after helping verb or a main verb, these part of verbs will be called as a predicate. We call this as a predicate. So let me give some more examples to make you to understand what is subject. So to identify a subject, what you have to consider, it is important. Look here. To identify a subject, ask who or what before a verb. So in a sentence, if there is a need or you must know what is the subject, what is the thing is required, you have to ask using that pronoun or a noun. You have to ask a question. See, to identify a subject, you have to ask a question beginning with a who or a what. So beginning with a who or a what, and that word will be a before a verb. And that word will be before a verb. See in this example here, I'll make you to understand clearly how you can identify the subject. So cat is jumping in the garden. In this sentence, look here, you need to understand now about the subject. So when before a helping verb or a main verb, there will be a word. See, helping verb is a is here, jumping is a verb here, main verb here. So before this verb, before this main or helping verb, there is a subject, there is a word, cat. So to this you just ask a question using a who or a what, like who is jumping in the garden. The answer will come, cat is jumping in the garden. So assume that this is the subject, or this is the subject, cat is the subject. So likewise, the book is placed on the table. In this sentence, you must know what is subject here. So this is the subject and remaining will be after the verb, the remaining of part of the sentences will be a predicate. This I will explain you later. What is predicate, I will tell you later. The book is placed on the table in this sentence. So here this is the verb part. Is placed is the verb part and before the verb this is the word here, the book. So make a question here. To this question just make a question using the book here. So what? This is the thing. Use the what here. So what is placed on the table? The book is placed on the table. The answer comes. Think that this is the subject. So the book is the subject. So moving on now. So subjects in a sentence, subject can be a one word or subjects will be a group of words. It can be a one word or the subject can be a group of words. So I'll prove with the examples here. He writes a story. So in this sentence, subject is a one word. He is doing an action, a person, a pronoun. He is a pronoun here. So this is the person. He is doing action. He writes a stories. So this will be a subject here. The subject will be one word. Likewise, see in the second sentence, my cats Lily and Billy are twins. So here the cats Lily and Billy, these whole things make a subject here. So R becomes a helping verb and remaining the predicate. This complete will be a predicate and this all cats Lily and Billy becomes a subject. So the subject will be a three subjects are the cats, Lily and Billy. So it is a group of words. Subjects can be a subject will be a one word or a subject can be a group of words. So this is seen, you can see in a common sentences. Likewise, when you see the subject in some imperative senses, what difference it makes, what the changes here. So now see the students how subject place it changes in cases of interrogative sentences or imperative sentences. See, like in interrogative sentence, see some examples here. So in interrogative sentence, what are the interrogative which are in the form of question, which tells ಪ್ರಶ್ನಾತ್ಮಕ ಇರುವಂತಹ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು where there is a use of WH, who, what, or WH questions, or even SRP questions. So these kind of sentences we call as interrogative, which arises a question. So that kind of sentences we call as interrogative. So for example, in a question sentence, these kind of sentences, in a interrogative sentences, what happens? Subject is placed after the helping verb. Subject is placed after the helping verb. Take for example, what are you doing? See the sentence. This is an interrogative sentence because it gives a question, it arises a question. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನು ಕೇಳುವಂತ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು. So what are you doing? See here. What is the subject here? See, in this kind of sentence, subject is placed after the helping verb. What is the helping verb here? Helping verb is the are. And where is the subject? So there is a use of WH word. Soon after that, there will be a helping verb. And after the helping verb will be the subject. So in question, in this type of interrogative sentences, subject will not be in the beginning, it will be soon after the helping verb. So what are you doing? This is the subject. And this is about WH question. Whereas in yes or no questions, can you come home? There is no use of WH, but there is use of helping verbs here. So can is the helping verb here. So soon after the helping verb, in this kind of sentences, subject is used. So you is the subject. And when this is the subject, the remaining are going, this becomes the predicate. Here, remaining come here becomes the predicate. So when this is the condition of a interrogative sentences, subject will be placed after the helping verb. When in a case of imperative sentences, what are those imperative sentences? The sentences which tells about a request, or in a sentences when there is a use of, or when it suggests, it indicates the order or a command, or a request. These kind of sentences we call as a imperative. ಸೊ ವಾಕ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾದ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು ಅದು ಏನು ವಿನಂತಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆಜ್ಞೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಇಂಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ವೇರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಐದರ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್. ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ as imperative sentences. So they take for example of two sentences. Go, there is no any kind of words. Only one word is used, that is go. So go, it also make a sense here. Go is also treated as a sentence here. Not as we can say sentence is made up of group of words, but there is no group of words. Still go is referred, or it is called as a sentence. See, the go is an imperative form here because ordering. So what is the subject here is you. It is understood. Go suggests that go, you go from there. It is understood. Need not to mention again there you go. Don't say like that, you go. It is understood that the subject is referring there you. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಹೋಗು ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅದ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ, ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅವನಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಗೋ, you is understanding. You, the subject becomes abstract there. And see in the second sentence, it is a order here. It is a order. The second example tells about the request here. Please sit down. Here also there is no any kind of person or pronoun is used. Still, it makes a sense there. Subject is there. What is the subject we can sense here is you. The subject you can sense is what you can sense here. You. It is understood you. Here also subject is abstract. You please sit down. So you, there is no use of mentioning of subject you there. It is understood. So this is in the case of imperative and interrogative sentences. So let me move for a predicate part now. So here about predicate here. So you should understand what is predicate. The second part of a sentence here now, predicate. So predicate. Look the sentences here, students. Look the meaning of the predicate here. It is a part of a sentence. It is a part of a sentence that says something about put the subject or what subject does. The part of a sentence is here which tells about the subject, something referring to a subject or what the subject is doing or what the subject does here. For example, take here. The boy cut his hand badly. The boy cut his hand badly. So the boy here, it is referring to a person here. And it becomes a subject because this is placed before a verb. Cut before a verb. Cut is a verb here and it is placed. The words which comes before a helping verb of a verb, we can tell as a subject. And the boy is doing action. A doer here. This is the subject. And the remaining things here like what the doer is doing, what the action, the verb is, the subject is doing here. Cut his hand badly. This part becomes the predicate. So as for meaning here, it is a part of a sentence that says something about a subject or what the subject does. Here the subject is cutting the hand. The subject cuts the hand badly. So cut his hand badly. These four things become a predicate and it becomes the boy becomes a subject here. So one more thing you have to keep in mind regarding a predicate here. When you must know much about a predicate, one more thing what you keep in mind. Important part of the predicate is always a verb. So the second part of the sentence, which is the predicate. So predicate will be having the most important part, that is the verb. Here, predicate is placed usually after a subject. Remember this predicate. So predicate, how you can identify a predicate? It is placed usually after the subject. After the subject only, what is that? Predicate will come here. Then look here. For example, he looked very angry. Here also you can see he becomes the subject and look will be the angry and remaining part of the sentence. Adjective. This is the adjective. It is a verb. Look here. Looked very angry. This whole part becomes the subject and predicate. So this becomes a predicate and this becomes a subject. So when you see the above sentence here, what is that? Predicate is placed soon after the subject. So these words are placed after the subject. So this part you can call as predicate, I have told you. But here, in some cases what happens here, predicate is placed or used before a subject. So here you can see after a subject I am telling here, but here even the predicate can come before a subject. Example, look here. Up and down went his boat. Up and down went his boat. In this sentence, the up and down, it becomes a predicate. The subject is at the and his boat. So this is in some cases, subject acts as like this, or predicate comes in the beginning. So overall, what you have to understand, students, why predicate you need to understand, because in a sentence, if you don't know what is the subject, or if you don't identify what is the verb, or you don't know what is helping verb, know any other basic other parts of grammar like active, passive, indirect, whole things. All concepts of grammar you cannot understand. So the basic thing, you should know what is subject, you have to understand helping verb, you have to understand the main verb there. So this is about the subject and predicate. In next class, I will be dealing with some other grammar concepts or some other part, or either I will be engaging the text part of your syllabus. So with these students, if any other doubts you may cross, or you may having any doubts, you can approach me or you can call me. You can call and ask about your doubts and you can clarify your doubts. So with this today, students, I am going to wind up the session and we shall meet in the next session.